Across the world, the frequency and intensity of storms has been growing year over year. According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, the average cost of hurricane damage is $22.8 billion per event. Even an indirect hit can result in catastrophic impacts to a region.
Located on the coast of Virginia, the city of Norfolk is no stranger to hurricanes. Home to the world's largest naval base and the deepest port on the East Coast, Norfolk is essential to our nation's defense and state's economy. That's why it's so important to have a strong resilience strategy. The Resilient Norfolk Coastal Storm Risk Management Project is part of Norfolk's vision for designing the coastal community of the future. This is the first time the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers has funded a project of this kind pre-disaster.
The $2.6 billion project features storm surge barriers, nearly 9 miles of flood walls and levees, 11 tide gates, and 10 pump stations, along with hundreds of non-structural projects that include home elevations, basement fills, and commercial floodproofing. The project also includes natural and nature-based features such as oyster reefs, living shorelines, and wetlands mitigation. The Resilient Norfolk project is divided into 5 phases with 4 structural phases covering specific areas of the city, including downtown, Pretty Lake, Lafayette River, and Broad Creek. In areas throughout the city where floodwalls and surge barriers cannot be built, the non-structural phase includes home elevations and basement fills of at-risk properties.
Typically, these projects are funded post-disaster, so after a storm wipes out a community, Congress will provide funding to rebuild things back the way they were. Our goal is to not wait for that to happen, but to get things built and provide protection ahead of these major events. A significant storm event in Norfolk would have far-reaching effects, not only direct damages to property, but also it would impact the ability for folks to get to their jobs, cause business interruption and disruption, and it could also impact our ability to deal with emergency services and life safety situations that could occur during and after a storm event.
In Norfolk, Centerra has over 30 facilities, but the ones that are most significantly impacted by environmental issues is Centerra Norfolk General Hospital, our flagship trauma center, and also our medical office building at Port Norfolk. We employ over 5,000 people in those 2 facilities. What's particularly troubling with that is that our power plant, which generates the power necessary not only for our hospital, but for Children's Hospital of the King's Daughters and in Eastern Virginia Medical School, is at or below the floodplain level. During an event like that, a major storm, it's important for us to be able to have all our people report to work. Having that protection would be extremely important, not only to getting our employees there, but to continuing the servicing the patients that were housed there.
We supply water to many of the other cities, and Norfolk is also home to some of the largest employment centers in the Hampton Roads. We have major universities and the downtown business district.
The Hampton Roads business community is vibrant and it's diverse. We have a variety of businesses here, industry clusters. When you look at those 3 pillars, the defense industry, hospitality and tourism, and the port, it just plays a huge role in the overall economy of the Commonwealth.
We are home to the Virginia Port Authority in the Port of Virginia. And that port is a significant asset, not only to the Hampton Roads region, but to all of Virginia and most of the eastern United States. So the Port of Virginia is a critical economic driver, not only for the Commonwealth of Virginia, but really the United States economy east of the Mississippi River.
The city of Norfolk is home to the world's largest Navy base in Naval Station Norfolk, which is home to the Navy's Atlantic Fleet, and also a home port of about 4 or 5 different aircraft carriers. It's also home to naval support activity Hampton Roads, which hosts 2 different 4-star headquarters. The Navy's Fleet Forces Command and NATO's Allied Command Transformation are both there at NSA Hampton Roads. Norfolk also shares a border with Joint Expeditionary Base Little Creek Fort Story, which is home to the Navy's East Coast Special Operations Forces. So Hampton Roads is home to about 18 different military installations. About 120,000 active duty, guard, reserve, and civilian personnel, about 125,000 military dependents, and nearly 220,000 veterans call Hampton Roads home. The Defense Department is a vital piece of the region's economy. DoD spent about over $28 billion alone in direct spending in 2023. And when you add in all the induced economic effects of that spending activity, DoD accounts for about 40% of the region's $125 billion annual economy. Probably 70 to 75% of our service members don't live on base. They live out in our communities. And so that's why the Coastal Storm Risk Management Project is so vitally important, because the military can't get the mission done if their surrounding community is underwater.
In October of 1759, a storm had about a 15-foot increase in the level of the bay that led to an 800-acre sand spit that eventually became what we know as Willoughby Spit. So we know that these storms can hit the Chesapeake Bay region, and we know that they can produce even larger storm surges. We can look to New Orleans in Louisiana as an example of a place where 20 years on from Hurricane Katrina is not the same as it was the day before the storm hit. To take proactive action does what we can to avoid that trauma to our communities.
It is estimated that the significant storm event lasting 4 days in Hampton Roads could result in between $355 and $606 million in detrimental impacts to global output. By planning for the future, we can build defenses before a devastating storm impacts the regional economy.
Resilience is the ability of a community to absorb a shock and respond and build back better. Protecting Norfolk, protecting those assets, making sure that they're not going to suffer the debilitating effects of a major storm event. By protecting them with those structural measures that we're talking about with the Corps of Engineers, that's critical to making sure that not only is Hampton Roads more resilient, but also that our nation as a whole is.
The project is crucial to the future of not only Norfolk, but the entire state. We need your support. The federal government will fund 65% of this project, which is roughly $1.7 billion. The remaining $930 million must be funded by the city and state level. Norfolk has earmarked $465 million with city funds already, and we are grateful for the $50 million the state has allocated to date. This is a great start to begin this project. However, we need the state's help with the remaining $410 million. While Norfolk might not be in your district, the project will benefit the entire Commonwealth by safeguarding three main drivers of the state's economy: our military, the ports, and tourism. The Coastal Storm Risk Management Project is critical for Virginia's future.
To learn more about the Norfolk Coastal Storm Risk Management Project, visit resilientnorfolk.com.